Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Motivate with Coach Camp. I, of course, am your host, Coach Camp, and we are down here in these illustrious studios of SRP with Mr. Derek Michaud. All right, folks, y'all been following me. I love it. You guys, y'all been sending me a lot of great messages, tuning in, kind of like letting me know that y'all appreciate these episodes, and y'all know that you've been following me. And so we've had two amazing fire chiefs over the last couple of weeks. Today, we're anchoring that series with a very good friend of mine, somebody that's going to have such a massive impact on the city that I worked with for so long, and his legacy is going to be phenomenal. I know you guys want to stick around. We got some personal stories. He's a great friend of mine, and I know this is going to be entertaining for everybody, so stick around. I have Mr. Colin Burress, the newest fire director for the city of Memphis, but you know how we do this thing. Before I jump into my conversation with my friend, I got to send it out there so we can pay our bills. So sponsors, thank you guys for checking in with me. Just stick around for a second as we get a word from them. Hello, everybody. I just wanted to have a quick second to let you guys know how much it means to me that you are my sponsor. SRP Studios, The Real Hernando, The Rhythm Section, Hardwick, Heating, Cooling, and Air Quality, Estes, Grading, Hodge Homes, Adair, Honey Farm, Miss Hippie Eats, Phones R Us, Ross, Sod Farms and Landscaping, Ivy Rain, Women's Clinic, Tonic POS by Tyler Young, and Coffee Central. Thank you guys so much for being a sponsor. If you'd like to be a sponsor, go to my website now, motivatewithcoachcamp.com, and click on the button. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Look, here we are. We're back. Colin Burress, new fire director, the city of Memphis. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you inviting me on the show.
Thank you for coming out. I ordered some special rainy weather for you.
I see.
There, obstacles are no thing for you, my
That's
man.
right.
I know this.
We don't do anything easy.
We don't do it easy, brother. Look, let me tell you something. So whenever I started thinking about the Fire Chief series, you came to mind, but I knew you were brand new at the job. And I'm thinking to myself, he may have way too many things on his plate to try to fit me into his schedule, but you didn't even hesitate.
Right.
You jumped right in there, man.
Right.
I greatly do appreciate that. Look, folks don't know. Y'all don't know. This is going to be something some of you know, but y'all don't know. This guy right here has been through so much. You've done so many things for the city of Memphis. And the one burning question everybody out there wants to know, how did all those years working with me influence your great leadership?
Man, I tell you what, if it wasn't for you, I don't know if I would have made it.
Well, that's
I really don't.
That's what people think, right?
You're a very influential person.
Well,
I have to tell you that.
My wife says things, and it's not that. But anyways, you know Boo very well. So let's jump into some of the things about Colin Burress. Before we get to where you are today, people always need to know where you come from. So let us know a little bit about where did you grow up and what was family life like?
Man, you know, I'm a Memphis kid through and through. Grew up, the community that I grew up in was very close-knit. You know, back then it's like you go outside, you're away from your parents, but you're not. Everybody in the community, they were leaders. They were people who brought you up. If you did something wrong, they were going to make sure, hey, you're not going to do that again. So I benefited from that. A lot of great people. I grew up next door to my grandmother.
That's big.
That was awesome. Loved it. We would go and they would pass food over the fence. We'd go next door for all the holidays, things like that. You know, as you grow up, you get older, you miss those things. You know, I miss my grandparents. I miss, you know, my mom. She passed away right at the time I got into fire school. So I kind of had this chip on my shoulder entering fire school. But, you know, me as a kid, it was great, man. I had a great childhood. You know, I'd go and, you know, at the time they had the pull boxes. If you
talking about for your mail and stuff?
Well, no, like if you wanted to get the fire truck or whatever to come to a
yeah.
fire, you had the pull boxes. So I would go and I stayed right there at Chelsea and Nye in North Memphis, and you know, I'd go over there and pull the pull box because I wanted to see the fire truck show up. So I did that enough. They knew. They was like, we know who's doing this.
Little Colin did that stuff.
Exactly. and look where it led me. So hey.
Yeah. So how old were you whenever this mischievous Colin was taking place?
Man, it was probably between maybe about 7 and 8.
Wow. I was hoping you would say 6, 7. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. We'll go there another time. So did your mom or anybody know that you were doing these deviant acts of getting the fire truck out there?
No, not
That's
at all.
Funny. That is so funny.
Not at all. But you know, the Station 15 right there on Breedlove, that was the closest station. So what I can say is when I would go down there, you know, the firefighters were just what we embark on being today. Yeah. And that's being good community public service.
Yeah.
They were inviting. You go in the station, you know, they give you candy, they talk to you, try to tell you the right things to do. Growing up, I never thought about being a firefighter.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
So what were you thinking then?
Man, I was thinking NFL. I was thinking, you know, maybe a lawyer, but I'm not a big or avid reader, so lawyer wasn't going to be the thing. You know, really like playing sports.
Yeah.
But like I said, that wasn't going to materialize either. So, but I am a team person. Mm-hmm. I love being I feel like I'm a really good person when it comes to putting a team together. Yeah. So the fire department is something that just really, it worked.
Let's look at those young years then. So who was your influence? Mm-hmm. You're obviously playing football. I knew that you played football. What other sports did you play?
Played football, ran track, not a lot. Well, not for a long time. Mm-hmm. Played basketball for a little while, things like that. But it was like, man, it was sports for me. It was like growing up, that was everything. Yeah. That's all. I loved watching it. I loved reading the magazines about sports. And that's all I envisioned, is just being in the sports world. So I brought that up, and I started to ask about the influences, but I wanted to find out what sports it was you played, because I know for me, Coach Camp is not just my title for being a motivational speaker or a podcaster. Right. It is literally who I have been for over 30 years, as being a coach. Right. Did you have coaches that poured into you that actually made a big impact on your leadership styles today? And we're not going to get to today yet, but I'm just talking about those things that happen when you're a kid. You don't always recognize it then. Right. It's later you kind of recognize it. Right. One of the most influential coaches to me was a coach I had in high school, and he was a basketball coach, legend in the city of Memphis when it comes to especially high school basketball. A guy by the name of Bubba Luckett. And I say that because he was always just a class act, very professional. But in times where you needed to hear the right words, he always seemed to have the right word, and he was compassionate. So that right there just really resonated to me, and I was like, you know what? I want to be just like that guy. Yeah, I want to be like that. I want somebody to look at me in that same lens. So, you know, he's a great guy, but I've had so many mentors and great coaches. Yeah. You know, it's hard to, you know, just name them all, but that's one right there that really stands out to me. Sure. And, you know, you're right. And growing up myself, I had a lot of coaches that they had different areas that they impacted how I saw things or how I approached things. So we've talked about sports over the years. You know, I played baseball, right? No. Yeah. And so I was obviously, you know, who's my favorite team? Is it Don't You Dare Do It? Oh, Don't You Dare Do It. I knew he was going to say it. New York Yankees, baby. I've never heard of anybody. Yeah. Having to go to the hospital. Hey, look, it can happen. Because their team lost. Look, bro, it's tough on me. You know, I had a heart attack recently, right? Yes. What? I did. That's a whole nother story for another day. Yeah, that's a true story. Yeah. Really? So it's hard on me, man. I give fully some of my heart. Was it associated with the game? No, not this time. No, so I don't know where it was at. Actually, I don't know how it happened. It's a whole nother story. Don't want to distract from our conversation, but it is true. And look, hey, I'm still going. I'm still here. I'm still here. Don't worry about that. Don't stress about that right now. So, the coaching, I think, if you have good coaches in your life, they are putting pieces, building blocks, if you will, in place that you don't even notice as a kid or even as a teenager or even a young adult that you will use down the road in different areas of your life that you're going to be able to, whether it is understanding another person's situation or knowing how to approach a problem. Like you just said, that one coach just always seemed to know what to say at the right time. I don't think that happens by accident. Those people have had people pour into them, and then it's just a continuation. So it's that butterfly effect that I like to talk about. So then growing up, you had brothers and sisters. How many? I've got 2 brothers and 2 sisters. I always like to get that part because I think that plays into the person's dynamic of who they are. So where did you fit in the lineup? I was in the middle, kind of. I got I got 2 older sisters, an older brother, and 1 younger brother. Okay. So I'm not. You're on the back end, not quite at the middle. I didn't get I couldn't be completely spoiled rotten, but I was right there. You're pretty close. Yeah. You're pretty dang close. Yeah. All right. So then you say you wanted to play professional sports. I think that's a pretty common dream that a lot of kids have. Right. To play some kind of sport. I, for some reason, thought I'd be playing second base next to Derek Jeter. It should have all worked out that way. I put an application in multiple times. Right. Multiple times. It just kept getting thrown away or whatever it was doing. So then when you get into the late years of high school, do you go straight to college? What's your next step out of? I went to UT Martin. Okay. Aspiration, playing football there. Was there first semester, grades were great. started getting wrapped up into too many outside things and distractions, and the grades seemed to dip.
Yeah, that suddenly took a back seat.
Yeah, he took a back seat. So parents were like, all right, well, I tell you what, you come on back home. We need to get you back rooted and grounded into, because we're not going to keep paying money for you to go to school if you're just going to be at school doing whatever you want to do.
Sure.
So I came back, and I think that's probably the best thing that ever happened. Yeah. And the reason I say that, it kind of got me into like being a public servant. Because when I came back home, I was like, well, I still continued to go to school, but I was like, hey, I need to work. I need a job.
What were you studying?
I was, at the time, it was pre-law.
Oh, so that lawyer thing actually was starting to try to materialize.
Yeah, until I found out what it was really about. Oh. And I was like, hey, you know what? I think I might need to change this up a little bit.
Okay.
So, but I went and I was able to, my older brother at the time was working at the Shelby County Correctional Center. And that was just my first act of being a public servant. Yeah. I was really young. I think I was just as young as a lot of people that were there. So it was like I didn't see any issues. To me, it was a job, it was a profession. It wasn't stressful to me. I could see how it could be stressful to a lot of people, but I met so many great people. And it got me into the point of really trying to be, or starting to be a public servant, to where I say, hey, I got a role in this world somewhere, and I got to make the most of it.
That's finding that purpose, and I think that there are moments that I hate to use the word epiphany, but it's kind of that where we have suddenly that moment in your life where you recognize this is bigger than me, and I want to be a part of that. Right. Being a servant to the community, or being a servant to other people, is sacrificial in nature. Right. You're making a decision to see the betterment for other people over your own a lot of times, and that is a mindset. I think that. Forgive me if there's a psychologist out there. Look, y'all know me by now. I've been around for a minute. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but I think it's built into your DNA. I'm not saying a person can't develop that, but I think that you are born with a certain sense of compassion and care for other people, and it draws you to those career fields, whether it's military, fire, police, you name it. That kind of thing is kind of in you. It's who you are.
Yeah, and I think, too, what it showed me the most, too, is it let me talk to people who were in dire situations or bad situations. I've learned just because you're locked up, it doesn't. You're not a bad person.
Made bad choices, maybe.
Bad choices, something like that. But there is a other side to this, and it let me, even at that young age, learn that there's a such thing as being straight up during dialogue. And that's like, you're talking to somebody, you're having an exchange, and it's like you can give somebody something just with your words alone.
Oh, 100%.
And you can also learn something from everybody.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what this podcast has done for me. Right. I say it all the time. So if you watch every single episode, you're like, man, I'm tired of hearing him say that. Sorry if that's the case, but thank you for always watching. And that is, I get so much more out of this than I feel like my guest ever could. They give me something that I didn't have before. And us being able to sit down and share our stories, whatever that is, even if I've known a person for over 20 years like yourself, sir, we connect in a different way. And being able to stop life, if you will, and have dialogue, man, that connects with the soul. That's a fact. That's true.
Like I said, going back to, our time, I've thoroughly enjoyed our friendship and relationship. I have laughed so much, and I'm not going to say at your expense.
Oh, no, it's fine. I create the moment.
You do.
The people that watch us all the time say, no, it's still there. It's always happening.
It is. It's always happening. It's consistent.
Yes,
it's
who
consistent. It's genuine, and there's never anything that is within the intent to harm. It's always fun loving.
That's right.
And like I said, man, you got one of the biggest hearts that I've ever seen, and somebody who I've been around in the department and in life for that case.
Thank you, Chief. I'll make sure I mark down that you said that, so now I owe you that $50. So you did say that. You cleared up on that one. Good job, buddy. So look, let me tell you something. Whenever you make these decisions, all right, so we're going to go back to the part where you're in college, your mom and dad make you come home. These are these life-altering moments that maybe if that didn't happen and they let you continue your course, maybe Colin becomes something totally different. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you're a lawyer for somebody else. Maybe you're Puff Daddy's lawyer. I don't even know where this goes. But the point is, they bring you back home and you start to recognize that there's a bigger calling for you. Right. Did you have family or friends that were in fire service, police service, something like that?
No.
Okay, because that was going to be my next part was if so, how much did you talk to them to help influence your next decision? So I know this much, correct me if I'm wrong. I do my homework, y'all. I don't care what you say. I'm doing my homework sometimes. All right, and in 1998, that is when you joined Memphis Fire Department.
It is.
Did you do something fire related prior to that moment?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't. I worked for the Germantown Police Department.
How long did you work there?
96 to about 98.
Okay.
Almost 2 years. Enjoyed it. Met some really good people there. Had some really great times. Learned a lot. You know, it was one thing, like I said, I started out in corrections where you're inside a building and you're doing that. And what I was doing at the time, I was like, man, I just want to get out. I want to move. I want to be able to, you know, get around. I want to be able to just move as I wish. So that's kind of how I fell into the law enforcement side of it, and never ever thinking I would become a firefighter. You know, it's funny. I had a friend and he worked in corrections and he put in for the fire department at the same time. And he called me. He's like, hey, you know, you want to go down here and put in an application? So
that was the first time you ever even had the thought come across your mind?
Yeah, the thought really never crossed my mind.
That's funny.
Never ever crossed my mind.
Wow.
You know? And, you know, once I got into the fire profession, man, it was like hand in glove.
Isn't that funny?
Perfect fit. Perfect fit.
I think that's a great testament to anyone out there right now that's considering one thing, or maybe they've been in a job and they don't feel like it's necessarily their calling. Don't be afraid to step out of that and try something different. A lot of times the purpose is out there. We just have to find it. And the only way to do that is to keep living, keep giving yourself opportunities to do things. Just some fun facts. If you don't mind me tying some things together. So that's what I do. I like to do this thing. I don't know if you know this or not. I like to talk.
Nah.
Yeah, it's true. So I like to add some things occasionally. Funny that I remember now that you're saying this, that you were a police officer before. I had totally actually forgot about it until you just re-mentioned that. And do you know that I have my associate's degree in criminal justice?
Really?
I was going to be a cop initially.
You'd have been a good cop.
It's a true story. I was going to be a cop. And then I had a neighbor move into me when I was in the Air Force he moved in next door and he tells me that he's a firefighter. He's talking about like working 10 days a month. And I'm thinking girls dig firemen more than they do police officers, probably. That's my theory.
Yeah, we've got calendars and
I'm
all
like,
that.
man, I've heard about these things. I'm like, I want to be that.
But you know what? It's funny you say that is when I made it almost all the way through fire school and didn't even know what the schedule was. I did not know. I was like, I got to go to work every single day. They're like, no, you don't.
That is awesome. You really had no idea.
I had no idea.
You stepped into something. You're just like, let's just try it.
Let's do it.
That's called cannonballing. And I have a whole nother, if you guys want comedic, cannonballing episodes, that is another one of my podcasts to do. It's just all funny stuff, but it's about cannonballing life. So there is a premise behind it. So then when you get into this thing and you're just following a friend into it, how old are you at that time?
23.
Okay, so you're still a young buck.
Yeah.
You're still a young fella. A lot of stuff a lot of time to throw away if you needed to see something else. So then in 1998, you clearly didn't have necessarily a thought process about where this path would lead. You were just trying something, didn't even know what the schedule was going to be, it sounds like. And then you get there and you start working, and you said it was a glove. It was like hand in glove.
It was.
Tell me about what it was that made you know that this was your calling.
I was, man, you know how you go through different evolutions and you go through different, you know, testing with, you know, pump operations, all of that kind of stuff. It came so naturally where the tests weren't hard. The evolutions were not hard. You know, things like that. I had classmates, they were dependent on me. They would come to me. And I felt like, even at that time, I felt like I was a leader of a small group.
Yeah.
And again, going back to, man, I'm very team oriented. I hate doing things by myself. I hate doing things in silos. It's all about team. Even if I know which direction I want to go, I'm still going to get with the team.
Yeah.
Because every now and again, they've got a better solution.
Right.
You know, and then even if they don't, you're building.
Sure.
You're bringing people up. And that's what it's all about. It's about growth and innovation.
I can speak to that directly as we get down the road here. We're still kind of building the story of who Colin is and where he's at today. But me having worked for you and beside you for such a period of time, with you being a lieutenant, I actually say everything he's saying is 100% fact, because you never went into a situation where it was my thoughts, my ideas, no one else mattered. It was always a team-oriented effort. And being on a sort company, we were exposed to all kind of calls, all kinds of situations. And it took a lot of different ideas sometimes to fix stuff. So we're going to dive into that in just a minute. So then when you get on in 1998, it was just a short period of time before you make driver in 2001.
Yes.
Was this a path that you started to think to yourself, you want to elevate and get more classes, climb the ladder, if you will, of responsibility? Was that an intentional thing at that point? No. So it was still just happening because it was a natural thing for you? Yeah,
it was a natural thing. Like I said, it was like, for me, my career, my progression, it's been really organic. Like, me making driver and taking a driver's test was because of just the competitive nature. Like, very competitive. I want to win.
Well, being on sports, that makes sense.
Yes, I want to win. And it's like, if you're going to give me an opportunity to take a test, I want to be number one.
Yeah,
I like that. Time. And that's my mindset, is I want to be number one. If I'm not, so be it. I got to try more next time. You know, one of the best things that happened to me, first thing, Chris, you know, your first lieutenant, when you come out of fire school, if it's a good lieutenant, and I mean good by they're training you, they're pouring into you. Right. You never forget that.
Oh, 100%.
My first lieutenant, God rest his soul, one of the best men I've ever met in life, a guy named Wendell Jeffries. And he really took to me. He made sure I had all the proper training. And if they hadn't have put me out of there, they displaced the guy because of my EMS licensure at the time. And about a year later, they had to swap us back. They swapped us back, and I went somewhere else. It wasn't that I didn't like the company. It's just, it wasn't the same. And I missed my lieutenant. I missed that company. I actually was like, hey, I'm leaving the fire department. I'm going back to get my job back at the police department.
Wow, this is that serious to you?
So about a year after I got hired here, I was going back to the police department, and Lieutenant Jeffries called me. He said, be at work Monday morning. Be at work. So I said, yes, sir. And that probably would have been one of the biggest mistakes that I made. Sure. Is leaving here.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and going back to your original question, you know, it's just, you just never know, you know, how your progression is going to be. And being a driver, it was cool because you got to think about it. You're going to get moved again. Sure. And I went somewhere I really didn't want to go. But not long after that, I got back to where I wanted to be.
I think that is, that's such a great example of what you had said earlier, and that being words matter, and you can completely change a person's life. And of course, had Lieutenant Jeffries not said that to you, chances are your life would be very different right now. Yes. But it's not just about you. See, this is the part here that I love. It's about all the people that you're impacting and you have impacted over the years. All of those people's lives would have been a little less full. And that's a fact. And I do see life that way. Right. I've understood and realized whenever I started down my path of speaking, being a motivational speaker, going to these high schools. I just recently spoke at Lewisburg. This is not about me, but this is about us. And this is about the moment that I see you getting bigger and bigger on the job and what that means to people outside of you. Out the bigger picture, if you will. I recently spoke to some kids, and there was probably 30. I mean, all together was 100 kids in the day. But there was like this group of 30, and I'm speaking to them, and you know how high school kids can be. They're a little bit not paying attention. They're looking off to the side, kind of probably like normal. And so I'm being very animated, as you could probably imagine. And I say that of everyone in here, if only one person hears my words, and it impacts their life in a positive way, then I've done everything I needed to do today. Right. And I had this one girl at the end of the day come up to me, and she had tears in her eyes, and she's explaining to me how she had been on the fence about some ideas, and I was giving them little pearls of wisdom about how to approach life and how to give yourself a second chance and how to not let adversity be the thing that makes you stop going. If you feel like that's where you're being led, let that be motivation. And so that was kind of the premise of the story. And she's like, I needed that so bad. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to keep going. And I said, you're my one. Right. You're my one. There may be 100 kids here today. You're my one. Right. That's why I came today. Right. So that's how you have to approach things. And as a firefighter and as a paramedic, I think that's instilled in who we are. We're going to go into a burning building. We're going to go into a house, and there may be one person in there that you might have a chance at saving. And you realize your life is in danger. Right. You could die doing that thing. But you're going to do it because if you can save them, it was worth it.
It was worth it.
And you and I could go down a long list of people that have paid that price. My lieutenant was a great lieutenant. You talk about that first one. Mine was Lieutenant Trent Kirk.
I remember.
Over at the 10s. Very impactful to my life on so many levels, more levels than I could ever even explain, put into words. Great man, great lieutenant, great firefighter, and very pivotal in my career whenever I was a young guy coming out of the academy in my mid-20s. Right. So I needed that kind of leadership. So here we are. You make driver 2001 and then you make lieutenant in 2004. What is your mindset at this point? Because you're progressing. As a paramedic, I know that whenever I came in, I kind of saw myself stuck in one track and then things started to open up. I don't know if you knew this. When I came on, we didn't have EMS lieutenants. Right. Back in the early 2000s, no EMS lieutenants, no EMS structures, wild, wild west. Right. I just kind of went out there and winged it a lot.
You were great. You were great at it, man. Come on.
But you didn't see a path of progression. The fire side was kind of a distant thought because we were so much on the ambulance at that time. Then things opened in a different direction. But for me, I knew that for people that were going to be a lieutenant or a chief or so on and so forth, they had to have a concept of being able to grow the people that they're with. Being a driver, you're still kind of an individual, even though you're still running some things. When you become lieutenant, now you got a crew. Right. What's your mindset?
Well, you bring something up. It's funny to me.
Talk to me.
So, when I made driver, I went from, I think I was at 13. Where was I? I was at 17s. So I make driver. I go to the 50s. At the time, 50s was a rest home. Wasn't a lot going on. Warehouses all around, right? And you got to think about it. In 2001, I think I've only got 3 years on, a little bit over 3 years, going on 4 years. Everybody on that fire engine, my lieutenant and the two privates, everybody's got over 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
So now you got a driver with 4 years on. And, the driver typically, hey, that's who's guiding everything. That's the lieutenant's right-hand person.
Right. That's right.
And, that was always funny to me. But it was great because even at a young time in my career, I had to grow up. And I'm like, hey, I don't care how many years you got on. It's about the work.
That's right.
And that's what it was. And I'm telling you what, the people I work with at that station, remarkable. Great people. But moving on to lieutenant. Making lieutenant, I made lieutenant early.
You did, yeah.
Very early. Same scenario. I'm like, all right. I had some people saying, hey, he's getting it too early. I don't want to work with him. You had some people saying, hey, I follow him, work with him anywhere. And that's what gave me the motivation I needed to say, hey, you got to get better. You got people that trust you. And with that being said, I'll never forget. I went to the training center when I made lieutenant.
It's typical, by the way.
Yeah, at that time especially.
Yeah.
They'd send you straight to the training center. So I was there. Wasn't there long. I went and I spoke with Chief Don Kewen at the time. And I told him, I said, Chief, I really want to go get back into special operations. I want to do, I want to be a good firefighter.
Had you done that before then?
Before then, where was I at? Before then, well, I drove engine 13 when the rescue was at 13s.
Oh, okay.
So before I made lieutenant, that's where I was. I was in special.
I forgot they were out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So great time, great group of guys, a lot of good knowledge passed around. So I asked Chief Q and I said, look, I really want to get back in this, because we were kind of expanding. Yeah. We're getting ready to on the verge of it. And I said,
do a third rescue at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey, I want to go. And he goes, I tell you what, let me think about it. And every time I see him, I tell him how appreciative I am, because that right there was a catalyst in my career, because everybody, you got a lot of type A's in special operations. So everybody's like, they're doing this, they're doing that. And I'm like, man, no, I want to do it better. And whether I was or whether I wasn't, it's just, it pushes you.
Sure, you don't fly higher by getting situations that are easier. You've got to push yourself harder to go higher. That's the way it works in life. It doesn't matter what it is. You don't go to the gym and then lift the same 25 pounds every day and think you're going to suddenly be stronger 5 years from now. You got to keep upping the weight. So it's the same concept, right? So you want to be around those folks that are testing you, challenging you. So then when you get promoted to lieutenant, how soon was it that you went over? Did you go over to, so this is a part here, it's revealing, and it's also part of my age. Did you get move to the 36s at that point whenever the rescue came in, or were you already back over on it?
No, I was on, at the time, I was on Rescue 2.
Okay.
And it was kind of a temp deal when it was at the 4s.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember, Rescue 2 ran out of the 4s for a while.
I do. Yep.
They expanded and they put Rescue 3 in Fraser.
Mm-hmm.
When they did that, the lieutenant who was on Rescue 2, he moved to Rescue 3, opened up Rescue 2. So when I got on Rescue 2, we moved to the 36s.
Okay.
And that's how that happened.
And so what year was that? Was it, you went in whenever it opened up, right?
No, 2005. I think that's when it was.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Because then it was, so it was like right there, 2006 that I came over.
Tommy Eichelberg was my first private.
Tommy Eichelberger. We came on together. Yeah. Me and Tommy.
That's my buddy.
So we came in and Rescue 2 had just got put into service over at the 36s.
Right.
And you guys had expanded. Y'all needed some new SORT medics. And that, my friends, is where it all started. So myself as well, whenever I got on the fire department, it's funny, Danny Scallions, chief of South Haven, his episode came out last week in accordance to yours. And he says, most people, because I was asking him about excelling up to chief, how did you get there? And he's like, well, most people don't get on the fire department and think one day I'm going to be chief. And I said, well, most people. Mm-hmm. I'm a unicorn. Honestly, I walked in the door day one. I'm like, I'm going to be running this mother one day. Y'all better just get ready. That was my goal all along, was just keep climbing, do as many things as I could, get as many classes as I could. Right. So whenever the moment came open that there was going to be a new rescue, and they needed some medics that were going to be trained for that, I'm like, bro, put my name in the hat.
Right.
Chief Anthony pulls up on a scene on I-55. I'm working a wreck on the side of the road in the ambulance. Mm-hmm. His wheels come to a screeching halt. He jumps out of his car. And he says, "Camp, are you wanting to leave me?" And I'm like, "Sir, I put it in to go to SORT." And he's like, "You better hope it goes through." Click. I was like, "Oh no." I hope it goes through. I don't know what that means, but so he was not happy because when you become a family, a family. People count on you, especially if you show up to work. Right. You do your job. You don't cause problems. You ain't even got to be great. Right. Just do your job, and people are okay with that.
Hey, I've heard he said, "Hey, so you want to leave? You want to transfer?" Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. Okay. And so he'd go to the Excel spreadsheet, which they worked off of during that time. Yeah. And just delete your name off of it. All right, you're gone.
He gone.
You're gone.
Yeah, he did come back and we mensed. Did you know that I taught his daughter in advanced EMT school?
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, by the way, too, I love how you come into the classroom and engage your students. The passion and the energy that you have. I love watching those videos.
It's real. It's real. My wife doesn't love it as much. She's like, one of these days you're going to get fired. I said, no, girl, one of these days I'm going to get promoted. By the way, I'm working on becoming a program director. That's my next move right now is program director. I'm
be a great one.
If I'm going to do this, let's just do this thing. Let's just do it, man. So, all right. So you get lieutenant, you got your SORT stuff going on. When do you join up with Tennessee Task Force? Was all that prior to?
It was. I got into the task force. Let's see. When was it? It was about the time I got to the 17s as a private, which would have been around 2000.
Okay.
So it was probably about a year before I made driver.
Gotcha.
And Chief David Franks, which he was a legend in the special operations.
Sure. Absolutely. Him and Chip Sneed.
Chip Sneed. Love Chip. God rest his soul as well. Yep. He, he was like, hey, and most of the guys over there were in it, and it was still kind of early.
Sure.
And, Tennessee Task Force, the whole FEMA thing, that came about, it was kind of like we need structural collapse expertise, and that's kind of how that came, and it just morphed. It went into Swiftwater. It went into,
confined
hurricanes.
Space.
So all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of when I got into it, and I can't tell you just how many things that I've been able to do in that arena, through being on that team. And to this day, it's probably been one of the best things I've been able to do.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you, so if you looked up like a group of Avengers, if you will, there as a young guy, as getting into the SORT program when I did and seeing the folks around me, man, you had like the Red Wines and the Kennys and you had and these folks were like bigger than life, man.
Right.
And
Harvels, Allison.
Quail, Allison. Yeah. Oh my God, dude!
Yeah.
That dude right there. Look, you want to talk about legends?
I know,
man. You name it, his name to anybody who was around him back in the day. They got 10 stories.
Lil
Bob, boy,
did you ever see the exchange between him and Shane Baker?
I did. Man, I have. Shane posts that video ever so often. And now he's like, I hope you die. Of course, it was all because Shane was being a fool, I love him.
He didn't say it just like that. But.
Yeah. It wasn't, there's a lot of context to that. But he always hated it if you put your hands in your pockets.
Or sat on the table.
Don't sit on the table. Look, you're making an impact when you can be gone from the fire service and just, there's people, those moments, right? Those moments.
He touched so many,
He did.
He drink coffee out of a bowl. I mean,
it's uniqueness.
It is. But he was, that's what really makes being in the Memphis Fire Department for me, just throughout the years. It's people like that. Sometimes I like to call them characters because that's what they are. It's like, this can't be real. That's a character.
That's a character.
But I tell you, it's so many people that have moved through this department and they move the needle, making it better each and every time. But it's because they care for their people.
Yeah.
And the relationships they have. And it's not just on the job, it's off the job.
Absolutely. It is a family. People, I think that they recognize most fire services as a whole, military too. You become a family. You're so tight knit, especially when you work within certain confines and being on a SWAT team. You're being called to all kinds of mayhem. And some of those moments are very unique. Do you remember our very first night? We were all together. We're the band of people. We got the Eichelbergers there and the Orozcos and the Will Sneeds. And here we are with this brand new group of folks, what our first night turned into. Do you remember it?
I'm trying to remember.
When I say it,
night,
I know you're going to know.
I'll remember it if you tell me the.
All right, there was a movie that came out close to that time that made this place famous, and it was with Hustle and Flow.
I do. I remember that. Was that the first night?
That was our very, very first night together. Wow. It was the Crystal Palace Melee. Everything went awry, and we ended up setting up a parameter in the parking lot. And we're like on a bullhorn. If somebody's hurt, bring them to our area. Because it was so chaotic. We couldn't go into the crowd anymore. And I'm like, if this is what I signed up for, let's go, baby.
Let's do it.
I was all in on that one.
I do remember that.
So many of those types of memories. Can you share with me some of the things that come to your mind? This is the part where I want it to be a little bit more fun because I've got a couple things in here I want to mention.
Hey man, what's the statute limitations on this? First of all,
you know what? Don't incriminate. Don't incriminate yourself. You can incriminate me. They can't fire me.
I know. No, you're good.
I'm free. I'm home free.
Yeah, you're good, man. I tell you what, it's so many. I think. There's one picture that I come across in my phone, and every time I see it, I just start laughing. And apparently, or possibly, there had been like a flower fight. I don't know how it started, but what I do remember in this picture, I just look at your face and see how you were looking. The disgust on your face from being just pelted with flour. You just had this look like, I can't believe somebody's taking this picture. And you were kneeling down by your locker. Yeah. But here's the part about it. I think you started the fight.
I probably did. Full disclosure. Look, when I was in the fire academy, I got my group to do as Jaquan will tell you. Talbert, he will tell you because he was in my group. We got a lot of extra exercise because of me.
Yes.
A lot of extra exercise. Yes. And it was always because I had jokes. I had comments. I had some kind of mannerism I would do, something that would be distracting.
Right.
Now, what I would like to also back myself up with was, though, when it came game time,
he was on.
I'm telling you right now, I was ready to go.
Right.
I was a jokester, and I was always down for some kidding and some messing around. I was always down with that. But I will say when the tones drop, I could be, man, I'm locked in, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
You were always a joy to work with. It was funny. I remember one time we made a structure fire. I don't know if you remember this.
I hope you're talking about the glove moment.
I don't think I'm talking about
All right, keep going.
I remember house fire, and you went up, and I come up past you, and you were telling me that the fire was, it's in the kitchen, and you were like down, like almost on your belly.
Yeah.
Like putting your stomach, like, what is he doing?
Yeah, I was nervous.
I walked past you, and I walked straight into the fire, and I walk into the kitchen. I'm like, okay, what is he doing out here? Laying on his stomach, and man, it was just hilarious.
That was the one with the gloves. I had come in and I didn't have my gloves on for whatever reason. I don't remember what it was. And I'm like, hang on, Ludi. And I got down and I'm trying to put my gloves on because I had just come across the story of a dude that had his hands burnt up. And I'm like, I don't want my hands all charred up. So I was trying to get my gloves on and they were wet. And you know, when you're wet and you got turnout gloves, man, they don't go on right. So I'm sitting there fighting with it and it was the gloves.
Yeah. But, so I come like, hey, all right, it's done. Forget about it. Don't worry about it.
I love the fact that in the fire service in particular, and I'm not saying other services can't be this way, but this is my experience, that you can have life and death serious situations and still come out the other side with levity, and you can have fun with those moments.
That's what makes it special. There's so many different personalities and types, and it takes every last one of us.
It does.
The men, the women, there's a place for us all, and we just have to appreciate that. We really do. And sometimes I think we get it, some people get it messed up, like, you got to be this, you got to be that, to be successful in this profession, and that's not true. You can be successful. You just have to want it.
That's true.
To go out there and do the work. I'll tell you, like, going to Christian Brothers High School, for me, man, I tell you, the study habits that I developed, it made navigating the promotional process for me not simple, but it taught me how to do things and organize the right way.
It gave you structure.
It did.
It gave you a process.
It did.
I think that you can relate this to everything in life. People that start out working out at the gym, you see them go in, they don't know what they're doing,
right,
and they're just all over the place, and there's really no progress being done. But whenever all of a sudden they're trained on how to do these different things, now they go in and they have that process, and you see the results. They gave you the tools you needed to be able to be successful. Now, I will say this, because you're mentioning that, and I want to bring this up, and you're 100% on this. I can recall so many times at the station, it would be in the evening after we've had dinner, whatever the case may be, and you're retiring to the lieutenant's quarters to go study.
Right.
Many times. A couple times I even came back there, I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Right.
We're up here watching some whatever garbage TV, but you're studying.
Right.
And that process never ended for you. And so you went back and you got your bachelor's degree. Where'd you get that in?
I got my bachelor's degree from Lemoyne on in business administration.
Okay.
Had a concentration in finance. Loved going to Lemoyne. And, I always say that, it's kind of like I had the best of both worlds. I got to go to Christian Brothers High School, which is a great institution here in the city. And I also got to go to Lemoyne on, which is a great HBCU. And, sometimes people get it confused. I've got a degree from there, gone on to the University of Arkansas to get a master's. And I tell you, I was really challenged. And there's so many great faculty members and instructors at Lemoyne that I still keep in touch to today.
Yeah.
And they really challenge you. So, like I said, shout out to Lemoyne. I really appreciate, everything that I was able to.
They recognized you recently with something.
They did. It was like a little shout out saying, hey, we got an alum that has made it to this position. So,
yeah. So speaking of this position, just so you know, I don't know if you know this or not. You probably know this. You're a smart guy. You probably know this. You know that Memphis is the 10th largest fire department in the nation?
I do.
We're tied with Phoenix and Dallas with 47 stations.
Right. But we're the best.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I can attest to that part. Yeah. No, I'm in on that, brother.
Right.
That is very impressive. And so it's good that Lemoyne Owen also shows that appreciation to those. Whenever you have individuals that come up through the ranks and they achieve something, now you stand for something so much bigger than yourself. You're actually showing the example to others of what's possible.
Right.
And then to know that you came from a humble means and you weren't gifted any kind of special anything other than your own personal desire to be great at something. And whenever you find the thing that fits like a glove, it's so much easier. That actually was me. I was kind of stupid in school. I made C's and D's. I had a 16 on my ACT from a high. But when I found paramedic, it clicked. When I got into firefighting, it clicked.
Right.
I didn't have to work so hard to remember it.
It was natural.
I loved it so much, I couldn't forget it. It was different. There's a difference there.
Right.
It's not like I'm beating something into my head. It's like, boom, you show it to me. I love it. Let's go again. Let's do this thing. I want to ask you about calls. So we talked about a few calls here. Before we move on to the deeper thoughts, there's always the conversation piece. We've got a little bit of time here still of, where is he at today and where are we going in the future? Because that's always big on all fire departments. And this is going to be important from leadership, obviously. I want to ask you about the one call that will forever be haunting on so many levels for me. And you're a part of it.
Oh, my goodness.
400 East Brooks Road. You say an address that people know,
Hey.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, that was that call right there was I mean, it's some calls you remember every single thing about.
Yes.
And that's one of them. And I remember standing, I remember where I was. I was standing right in front of the watch desk. And you just hear this big old boom.
Mm.
And when you hear it, you're like, okay, maybe a car ran into something out here. And you look outside and you see this big plume of smoke.
It's a mushroom cloud.
Yes. It's like, hey, I seen that in a book.
Yeah. Did somebody just drop a nuke? Because that is what it looked like.
Exactly. But if you remember, we went there the day before. Do you remember that?
Was it the day before or the shift before?
No, it was our day.
It was so the day before that.
Well, you know what? Let me make sure. Yeah, no, it was our day. It was our work day.
I may have been on the unit that day. I may have been on the unit because I wasn't with you guys when you did a walkthrough. But here's what I do remember about it.
It was, they had a incident, but it didn't get out of control. It was very small.
I got you.
And whatever that was, the next day, it wasn't so little anymore.
Yeah, it had expanded greatly. So do you know where we were? Do you remember? You probably don't. But you remember your events and you remember the things you experienced on that day. We were at Kroger getting food and we were leaving on the pumper and I was driving that day. Folks, it was my third time ever driving the pumper, ever. I was riding out of rank, just doing my thing, trying to learn how to do all these things. All of a sudden we're turning out Kroger and this mushroom is going up. And I hear the other lieutenant, you weren't with me, it was the other lieutenant. We'll just leave that at my house. The other lieutenant screaming. We'll just do it that way. Anonymous lieutenant screaming, go! And I'm like, I am. And I looked down, I was doing 30. My leg had locked all the way up. And I was like, you sure we got to go this thing? Right now, because we just call somebody. We are 911, it turns out.
Yeah.
We were the first ones there. We turned in and we ended up in the back of that thing. And we're putting water on it.
Y'all were first there.
We were first.
But you were first for a reason. We, the rescue, we stopped a little bit back. And being the time of day, and what had happened, you're thinking, hey, do I have walking wounded? Do I have this? Do I have that?
Oh, yeah.
So you got to make sure your crew is safe. You do what you got to do and, try to take all your precautions that you can and go that way. But, we wake up every single morning and we know this might be the day.
It's a true story.
But you came to work and you took this and came into this profession to do what you have to do to mitigate an incident, do it as safely as possible, and keep our people and community protected. And that's what we did that day. Like I said, y'all, first in. Y'all were first in.
Well, we were all the way up in that thing.
Yeah.
And I credit Chip Sneed for saving my life that day.
Yeah.
All of us, actually, that were in the back.
Right.
Because he called us out as soon as he got there. I guess he knew what the possibilities were of what was going on in there. And we weren't out very long and it blew up again.
Right.
And we would have been hurt if not disintegrated.
Yeah. It's a lot of moments like that.
It's a lot of moments like that, when I came into this idea of what would I talk to about one of the biggest departments in the entire country? I have the biggest chief here, the guy that has now risen through the ranks and is now running the show. What do you talk to? Well, I think big part of that for me was show the real person you are, what all you've been through, what those experiences meant to you, how they all play a role in who you are today, and how you're going to be able to use that to not just help individually, but maybe on a broader spectrum now, because you got a voice now. And so much of what leadership is having an influence. And when you have those opportunities to keep growing, look, I'm not even going to kid you. My goal for this podcast is to impact as many lives as I can. Right. So at some point, if I have 10 million subscribers, it's not about patting myself on the back. It's about hoping I deliver a message that is very meaningful to those people. That's what I do this for. Right. Well, I knew coming into this conversation with you, Colin, I wanted to hit on the person that you've developed and how you got there on a small microcosm. I mean, if we talked about all the stuff we did, we'd be here a long time. We talked about the Nacho Libre mask and me running into stores. Those are all great memories. Right. Those are moments when we coming in on the ambulance and suddenly Keith Drury has tied my bed up to the front of the station and it's hanging. I mean, those are great
boxing matches.
Moments. The boxing matches, the bottom line is this: it's all of those moments bond you as a family. I mean, what about you guys getting us rescue jackets, and we got you a little stationary desk or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, you were talking about facial expressions. You got us all these nice jackets. Here you go, Lieutenant. We gave you this little bitty desk. You're like, oh, dang.
But you know what?
You weren't even good at hiding it.
Hey, man, you know what? You try, like, every year. My goal was to, every day I wanted to show y'all how much I appreciated you. But
yeah.
every year, like, to me, like, gift giving, it's big. Like, I want it to mean something.
Yeah.
That's what I hate about gift cards.
Yeah.
Now, it's so easy to go get a gift card.
That's true. That's true.
Like, I would try to go get personalized stuff that, hey, it took time because it shows that you care. Sometimes the little things that, the details.
It's not matter. The money. It's not the size.
It's not.
It's the meaning behind the gift.
It is.
100%. I agree.
It is.
I agree.
But, I have to say this, like, who Colin Burress is today and everything that I've had the chance or the opportunity to become, it's because of the people that have been around me. Mm-hmm. Every last one of them.
Yeah.
Every last one.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
I'll be honest with you, man. There were so many times on the job, moments, whether it was a private to a chief, where I saw ways not to be. Right. I saw personalities not to follow.
Right.
But I appreciated what they made me feel because I knew I never wanted to make other people feel that way.
Right.
And I'm not going to say names, but it is the reality of life.
It is.
And it's every walk of life. You're going to be around folks that are not the greatest people to be around. You're going to be around amazing individuals. Learn something from everyone because that's what helps mold you in a better person yourself. You do that, sir. One other thing about the 400 East Brooks Road, I'm just curious if you remember this part. Do you remember doing a golf clap the next morning after we had been up all night long? We had been up all night long.
I'm going to tell you what I remember. I don't remember about a golf clap, but what I can tell you is I remember there was a guy driving engine 36. He looked a little bit like you.
You recognize him.
And I just remember I was sitting on top of the rescue truck, just sitting there. We were tired. And I remember, I guess he was putting the pumper in pump gear. And
if I remember correctly, they asked him to move it.
You just heard the gears grind. And I remember, there was a little heated exchange.
Yeah, there was something.
Everything kind of, goes back. And then he was instructed to do something else again. And I heard the same noise. He grinded the gears again.
That's amazing.
And yes, it's amazing. But
twice in front of the entire command staff.
In front of the entire command staff.
All the big wigs.
Yes.
All the brass you could have.
Hey, all I can say is, Chris Camp, you are consistent.
Thank you. I looked back in that side view mirror and I saw Mike and I said, you think they heard that one? And he goes, they're standing up giving you a golf clap. So apparently y'all were all doing this. All right, well, whatever. That's going to happen. Third time ever driving. What can I say?
That's
so
right.
Guys out there, if you're scared of failure, hey, just jump in there and go. I'm still alive. I still kept going 2 times in front of everybody. What are you going to do? All right, so let's jump into a few other things real quick, sir. By the way, got to be in your wedding. Not in your wedding. Got to come to your wedding. And so, like, whenever we talk about, just throwing this in there. So when we talk about knowing each other, man, we really do have a good feel for one another. And so I can speak with great authority when I say that you are going to be a breath of fresh air to the Memphis Fire Department, but then to the city of Memphis. And I can tell you right now, there are a lot of people very optimistic about where the direction of the department could go at this point.
Right.
And what they hope that you're able to do as far as influence goes, of course, we already talked about that. So I'll build that part to the story to talk about this next thing. So what are some of the challenges you see moving into this new position?
Man, we're so young right now. Just being a public servant, whereas when I first come on, you had a lot of people that they wanted to be a public servant, and the profession has changed. Whereas you say fire department, all people think about is fire. They don't think about the EMS side of it. EMS is 85% of what we do.
Yeah.
So that's what we really need to be talking about is, hey, do you want to do this? And I get it. Fires are very important. We make a lot of fires.
Sure. In Memphis, you do. Yeah.
Yes. And you can have a fatality very fast if you're not doing things the right way or you're not responding in a timely manner. But what I'll say is what we do every single day, without a shadow of a doubt, is we're going into homes to help people when they're sick and they need, they got a medical episode or something. So, us being so young, I think the lieutenant's position in the department is really critical. You got to have good lieutenants that are willing to work with their people, pour into their people. You know, they're going through class. They come out of class. But class is just that. It's controlled evolutions. It's books. But once you really get into the streets, that's real.
Yeah.
That's real. But, you know, another thing is this, Chris, is bedside manners, compassion.
Man, them soft skills are tough, especially in the social media world.
Right.
Where the ability to just have a normal conversation. I can tell you now, I'm training a lot of your guys that are coming up there, the paramedics that are going to Memphis. A lot of them are already hired by Memphis, obviously, and you guys are putting them through the class. That is probably one of the more challenging things I have to work with is their ability to speak to someone and to be able to read body language, to be able to read a situation. You know, it's not a knock on anyone. It's the world they know, right?
Right.
And so you're laughing because I know you're already thinking about some moments. I know, and you're probably thinking about the one where I asked the cop to ride with us because I didn't have a gun.
Yeah, I'm asking about that one, and I'm thinking about the one that when we went into a person's house. And the kid was having an episode. We didn't know what was going on to him. Going wrong with him, rather. And,
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we thought it was drugs.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, told the officer, can you ride with us?
Yeah.
And he's like, I asked my lieutenant, I said, well, I don't have a gun. And his mom went, but it wasn't intended that way.
Right.
But obviously she's like, don't shoot my baby.
Right.
I'm like, oh,
but it was a lesson learned for every lad.
It really was. It really was. Yeah. And I taught a lot of lessons the hard way sometimes.
Have you passed that on to a lot of your students?
Man, I share all those stories. Everything that I stepped in, if you will, the missteps over life. Right. I share all those. I'm a very transparent person in that respect. And you don't learn. Other people can't learn from situations if you don't share it. So I've got to be able to teach that.
Right.
But it's the soft skills of being able to talk to a person, understand that maybe you recognize, because you're medically trained, that it's not truly an absolute emergency.
Right.
But they may not understand that. And so being rude or being standoffish doesn't do anything for anybody. And it's actually a knock on your character. Be caring, be loving, and be understanding.
Right.
And then have that conversation if it makes sense. You know, maybe explain to them in a nice way. Well, this is an ambulance and we could be called to something else. And right now you're calling us because your toenail's hurting. Right. And I get that. And those are real type of situations, but being rude is not ever the answer. No. And then also discrediting a person. Because I can tell you something. I have multiple stories of having made a call, think it was not serious, get them to the hospital. They do some other things and they're like, oh no, this is serious. Right. You don't always know in the field.
You don't. And part of it too is we make so many calls, we become a little numb to it. So it's like we make it all the time, but to this person, this is a singular incident, and it's like this is their worst day. Yeah, this is a bad day. So we have to treat it as such. And you know, I have to commend a lot of the times. Like I'll see our personnel interacting with people and talking to people. We have way more positive moments and good moments than we do. But, you know, sometimes the bad comes up.
That's the only thing that people remember. Sure.
They remember the bad. So, and you deal with that.
People talk about one crap will take away 1,000 attaboys.
Right.
You know, you really got to be mindful and you have to show up every day. You got to bring your A game every day. That's what I always tell. I beat that into my students' minds. You don't have an option to have a bad day. I've given this example so many times. Again, going back to my viewers, you watch this all the time. You're like, dude, you've said that for like 8 consecutive episodes. I don't know if that's accurate, but just thinking about it. So you don't have an option of showing up on a scene and being like, man, this is tough. This sucks. I'm sorry. We're not going to be able to help you. We got to go back to the station. You don't have that option. You got to figure it out. So you got to be on your best that all the times. And then you also need to use your resources. That's another thing too. I should let you know is I emphasize to my medics, don't shut out your EMT basics. If you got a seasoned EMT basic, let them throw their suggestions in. I can't tell you how many times a Talbert or an Eichelberger or a Will Sneed gave me some suggestion on an ambulance or in a Roscoe. And I'm like, that's a good idea. Right. You know, think about who's your crew. They're seeing the same stuff. They may not know the same things you know as a medical professional, as a paramedic necessarily, but they know how to handle stuff. So let me ask you about this. So we talk a little bit about the challenges you see. One of the things on fire departments right now, I think this is standard across the nation. I can't speak 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure it is. And that's attrition. There's a lot of turnover everywhere. It used to be, I say this, it used to be when I came on Memphis back in early 2000s, man, it was hard to get on. They did a cattle call, and you might be 3 years before you get called in. Right. And then there was not a lot of turnover. There wasn't a lot of vacancies. And over the years now, we've kind of gotten to a point, it's not uncommon to see an entire shift in 5 years of a lot of turnover of people. Is that something you're concerned about? And if so, how are you planning on addressing it?
Definitely concerned about that. You know, a lot of our attrition, you're going to have your natural attrition. You know, people retiring, things of that nature, which that can be planned out and be dealt with. The issue that we have at the moment, and it's not just Memphis.
No, it's nationwide.
And you know this as well as anyone, becoming an AEMT or a paramedic is very challenging.
It's very challenging.
National registry is very challenging.
It is.
You get, 4 or 5 different selections that you can pick. But you got, one of them's the right one. One of them is close to being right. One of them is just not right because of something, and the other one's just completely wrong. So that's being taught. From what I've been told, it's like collegiate level, you know. So
it is, yeah.
You know, we've got, it takes a lot of, putting a lot of time to really getting ready to take those type tests. Sometimes people, whether they just don't get it, they don't take the time to put the studying in. We lose more people. It's not because they want to leave. We'll have people that leave, and guess what? They turn right back around and say, hey, I thought the grass was green on us. I want to be back.
Sure.
Or we have people that leave because they don't get the licensure. They get it and they come back. But it's very challenging. Like when I come on, I just had to be an EMT, basic. Yeah. So my testing was done. I'm out the gate. I'm learning territory, things like that.
Right.
It's challenging now. Now the kids that come on now, they've got so many different things that they have to take care of, you know, before they are a whole, and that's what it takes a long time. You can't, it's not a cookie cutter thing. You don't get somebody off the street and just say, hey, now you're a firefighter or EMS, person. It's like you have to grow them, and it takes a while. Yeah. So that's where most of our attrition comes from.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the biggest portion of attrition for a lot of departments that require paramedic. So you guys, I don't remember the year. I don't remember what year it was, that suddenly the shift was you had to get your paramedic within a span of time after being hired. You could be hired without it, but you had to get your paramedic at a certain point. And then you guys kind of transitioned to, y'all have single role, a few single role, which is, medic ran ambulances. They're not on the fire side. And that actually was the thing. You had single role before, back in the 90s and that, right before I came on. Now, what you're suggesting, and this is the situation at hand. So 85% of calls, that's been across the board for decades. That's not new, are EMS related. So it doesn't make any sense to have nearly 50 stations and not have very many paramedics. When I first got on, that was the case. You didn't have to be a paramedic, and there were very few paramedics. And some of the paramedics, you make it 5-6 years, they're getting burned out. They're leaving because they can't take another call. And now all of a sudden you have a very massive shortage of medics with a ton of overtime. Bro, I was killing it. I don't know what the chief was making, the big dog director back then. I was probably making more money than them because I was raking in OT. But you also know what it did? Took years off my life. Right. It suddenly became such a thing. And what you talk about, that exposure, I was having some PTSD issues, not even knowing I was having PTSD issues. Right. You run so much, especially in Memphis, because it's just a high call volume city, where, man, I could see something happen in front of me and not be fazed. And I'm like, that's a problem because that's not who I am, you know? And so that part of the job is tough. And then now, what you said, you come on the job and you've got to get your paramedic, but you still got to get your firefighter 1, you still got to get your firefighter 2. And it takes a special type of person to be able to juggle all this stuff. And then if you have a family, you got outside life. A lot of people even have outside jobs, which they find out quickly in those first few years, it is not worth trying to do that part. I know, because I talk to them all the time. Like, I still got a lawn business. You think it's a good idea? No, I don't. Not while you're in paramedic school. Absolutely not. Right.
No, it takes a lot. It takes a lot. Like you said, a lot of calls. Yeah. There's a lot going on. That's one of the best things about when we started the 12 and 12, where you're rotating. Yeah. You're not on the ambulance or whatever 24 hours.
That was one of the things I did love when I came to SORT. Yeah. You were guaranteed 12 and 12 before that.
I loved how you guys, if we saw or you guys saw, hey, one of my teammates is tired.
Yeah. Step in.
I'm going to take it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to take it. You know, and Talbert, he was one of the best. I mean, I want to say he made driver, and he'd still, hey, I'm on the unit. You go do this, and that's what it takes. It takes a team. You got to know your people. You got to take care of your people, and you build that. You set the tone and you build that. But going back to the original topic we're talking about is, it does. We really try to take care today, not only of our members physically, but mentally. Making sure they have resources that are available. It's
coming up right here, right there. So that's good that you're transitioning that. So that is something that has had a shift in the department, and I think across the board in career fields where you're exposed to a lot, that being military as well, even nurses. PTSD, it's a real thing, and it wasn't a cool thing to admit you had a problem with stuff. It was like back years ago, 2 decades ago, it was like you're weak.
Right.
This ain't meant for you. You need to get a new job.
Right.
That's kind of how it was looked at. But now it's the recognition that, man, this can take a toll. So what are some steps you guys are looking at to be able to try to hedge that off? Let's look at it this way before you answer that. Sorry. What is the number one? I don't want to ask you this because I don't want to put you on the spot. But what would be the number one killer of firefighters? And that's cardiac disease.
Yes.
And if a firefighter said they had chest pain, nobody's going to question them going to the hospital and getting treatment and fixing that thing. So it shouldn't be different if a person says, I'm having a mental stress issue.
Right.
Here's some resources. Let's get you back on the right track. So let me ask you, what is the vision or the idea that you guys can do moving forward to try to address that?
I think the biggest thing is people who are influential and being who have had issues like that, being willing to step forth and say something. I mean, I can say it this way. I haven't escaped that to where, I've been doing this 28 years.
Yeah.
And for somebody to sit there and say, hey, I'm unscathed. I haven't had anything, and nothing, like I can't sit there and say it's been major, but I know that, there's change. There's little changes in your person that you see, whether it be your mood, how you move through or you receive things, how you react to things. You know what I mean? So it's just people being willing to talk about it and say, hey, how do I deal with this? Because I think for most people, it's like, where's my resource at? I need help, but they're scared to ask for help.
Yeah.
Who can I reach out to? So, but you have to make the resources, available. And I think we've done that. I think the fire department, over the last, 4 or 5 years, has really been proactive in, putting resources out.
Yeah.
And letting people know, hey, we do care about your mental health.
Last thing here, a couple things I wanted to talk about real fast was this. Okay. So the tech moving into life, AI is a thing.
It is.
And I'm always curious about leaders in different areas. I just recently had the president of Southwest Community College come on. And I talked to her about, how is this going to transform the way we do classes or the way the college even runs?
Right.
So how do you see technology playing into the fire department as you move forward?
I think, one, you just have to be mindful of technology. First of all, it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. AI is wonderful, but you have to know its limitations. And with that being said, I think that having that type of information at your disposal, there's so many ways you can go with it, and trying to figure out different solutions for different things. And we use it, quite often. I'm not that good with it, but we have some people in the organization that they really are in tune with it. Yeah. And I think there's so many endless opportunities. The second you quit trying to find something new and a new path forward in your organization or profession, it's when you're going to fail.
Yeah, you're going to fall behind.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think the opportunities are endless, but I don't know. I can't say hey, we're just going to do this with AI. There's so many different things.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had something on the agenda already or just the idea that you're going to continue to look at things and how they develop and how they evolve over time and then adapt accordingly. Look, I can tell you there was probably a fireman somewhere whenever they started getting the steam engines going. And they're like, that crap's going to fail. You can't fail with a horse, whatever. It's like all of a sudden now the next thing comes and the next thing comes. I actually was a part of the idea of GPSs on the units. I don't know if you remember this part. Jaquan and I wrote several red lines and turned it in, trying to get those put on ambulances. The whole thing was the TomToms had come out. And it was brand new technology. You put the address in, you could go. And forever, they kept pushing back. And finally, they got it in the budget. And we showed them how much it would cost. They put those things on the ambulances, and then people started stealing them. And so their answer was, just take them off. I'm like, what did we do? That's a true story.
Right.
And so eventually the MDTs come around. Now GPS is second nature. I talked to Gary Ludwig, and he said that he sees in the future, you know Chief Ludwig, of course.
I do.
That he sees in the future, he was on my show maybe a year and a half ago, could have been 2 years ago, that fire trucks and stuff will drive themselves to the scenes.
You know,
a lot of it will be automated.
It wouldn't surprise me.
And you got drones now that are a part of search and rescue. Eventually, that could be a part of even initial entry, looking for possible people.
Right.
I mean, there's so many areas that things can change to.
It is, but the one thing that I don't think a drone or, that type of technology will be able to deliver, and it goes back to compassion.
Oh, no, it's never going to change that.
That right there is what's going to get us over.
100%.
That's what's going to keep us in the game, because I know without a shadow of a doubt in what we do, it takes compassion. And that's why I feel comfortable in that, there's so many different industries that, hey, they're fearful because, hey, is technology going to take my job?
Yeah.
I don't think this is.
The human element to things is I will say this, there'll never be not a need for that, even though some people will adapt accordingly and never have that in their life possibly. I just saw a stupid story today of some woman that married an AI figure. I don't know if you saw that. It's goofy as crap. But that is not going to be mainstream, I will tell you, in my lifetime anyways.
Right.
And obviously the adaptation of stuff or the better use of things and how can we grow that? Look, I'm all for having heads-up displays in your face mask, being able to tell you the readout of how much oxygen you have left and all that stuff. I mean, that's good. That's obviously really solid, and maybe even infrared. Who knows? Last piece here. I know it's late, man. And look, thank you for hanging out.
Hey, man, I love
Chief.
I appreciate the invite, Chris.
Look, these are the moments here I think that really endure people to another individual. People are going to see Colin Burress, not just some dude that has so many bugles on his collar that he could start his own symphony. He's a real dude. He's just a dude.
Hey, anybody can go to a uniform shop and buy bugles.
Well, maybe so, but not everybody can have the heart and love that you have for that job and be able to bring what you bring to it. So as the last piece here, I want you to have a moment, share with the people, maybe any pearls of wisdom and maybe what you would like to see your legacy left behind, because the idea for me is I want to grow what I do so big others want to emulate. And whenever they leave, it's better than it was when I left, and somebody else follows behind them. That should be your goal. I think that's what we have as parents, is we want our kids to have it better than we had it, and we hope their kids have it better than they had it. That is the progression of life. So tell me a little bit real fast about any pearls of wisdom you'd have and what your legacy would be.
Yeah, I just want to be a transformational leader that, that infuses innovation and growth to people, that lets them expand their boundaries. I don't like the leader-follower model. I like the leader-leader model, where you don't know who the leader is in the room. And, I just want to make people feel comfortable, make people feel like they're a part, a spoke in the wheel. And that's what we really have to work hard at getting back to that, to change the culture that we have. If from where I'm sitting, I have to make decisions down 2 levels down, 3 levels down, then something's wrong. I need to concentrate on what I need to concentrate on, and the people that you put in place, you let them do their jobs, regardless. If it's not how you would do it, hey, if it's not wrong, don't worry about it. They did it their way. Did they achieve the goal? Yes, they did. And, it's, I really want to leave the Memphis Fire Department. It's kind of like research. You have a goal. You have hey, this is what I want to do in this research. Whether you get there or not, that's hit or miss. But what you want to do is you want to add something to the existing research. And where you get, that's where you get. But whoever comes in next, they take what you did, they
build
add to it, and they might get to that goal you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thing. I just want to continue the tradition. I think we've had some excellent fire chiefs here. And not just in the fire chief role. We've got so many people in our department that have left to become fire chiefs in other departments.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's really it, Chris. I really want to be remembered as, hey, he's just a regular guy, good firefighter, cared about his people. He did it the right way.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that your legacy will be felt for many, many decades to come. I can tell you this, you've had a huge impact on my life. That is 100% fact in a lot of great ways and so many great memories as we shared here tonight. And there's so many more. There's so many more, guys. So much fun we had. Look, I can hardly think of a time that I look back and I thought to myself, man, I don't want to go to work.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't there. Yeah. I enjoyed it and being around the guys and just being able to make memories and do stuff that was meaningful.
One of my favorite things, and I didn't witness this, I've heard about it. But it was, I could just picture it, is Chris Camp riding a mini bike, a mini chopper.
Mm-hmm. Here's a 90cc from Mississippi.
From Mississippi
to South Parkway.
Memphis.
I did that.
Yeah.
I did that. Yeah.
And then, like, you had like a little wreck in the state. Didn't you hit somebody else?
I hit another person's motorcycle, yes.
He wasn't too happy with it, was he?
No, but he still loves me. We still talk to this day. Yeah, I had to pay for some stuff. In fact, the joke was I should just take that little motorcycle, put it on a necklace, and give it to that guy. But hey, that is what makes it so much fun, is making memories and having moments that I think is transformative in a lot of ways, a lot more ways than I could ever put into words here. Look, you're a true pleasure. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next. I know that the air is excited. That's what I would say is the feeling is an air of excitement right now. And sometimes people don't always see the possibilities, but I'm going to tell you something, the word on the street, and this is coming straight from me and everybody out there is watching. Mm-hmm. And right now there's probably about 1 or 2 million people watching. They are excited to see what you're going to do. Not trying to set the stage, make you feel pressure, but man, they're excited about it.
I'm honored and excited to be in the moment I'm in. I tell you, man, it's a true honor.
Well, after your years of all this and you're retiring, you and Libra are going to go out there and do whatever it is y'all do, tour the world, do whatever. You have to come back in here and tell me your experience of all the time that you were the director, because I know it's going to be a minute.
I can't wait.
It's going to be exciting.
I can't wait.
Do you have anything else?
I don't, man.
Man, I appreciate you.
I thank you for the invite, brother.
Yes, sir. Good luck to you. If I can ever do something for you, if you need your recruits motivated, I know a guy, baby. Give me a call sometime. I'll come in and give it to them. You know what I'm talking about. Thank you guys for tuning in each and every week. Y'all are what make this thing so exciting. Please continue to send me those amazing emails. I'm going to ask you right now. Do that thing. Go to my website, motivatewithcoachcamp.com. Subscribe to my YouTube. And until next time, Coach Camp out.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want, and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape,